This is TWiT.
You know, it's actually, was it you, Amy, or was it Nick who said this is an example of the haves? It was you, Amy, the haves and have-nots. There will be people who have the tech savvy to protect themselves, and then the people who don't, which is, by the way, 90%. 90% of people don't even know there's an issue.
And we haven't even talked about things like VR and AR and the people who can afford digital cloaking so that your faces can't be recognized and your eyes can't be seen. And it's a whole other couple years down the road.
Wow.
No, the lack of understanding. I mean, one of the most Googled things on Google is Google. I mean, that's how these people are going to understand.
I remember going to Google some years ago, and they used to have in the lobby, the current real-time searches, remember? And the #1 search was Yahoo. And it's because people would just, in the Google thing, type Yahoo to get to Yahoo. That's how people are. And yet, it was many of us smarter than the average bear types, a lot of journalists who got bit by this Google Doc email that spread like wildfire. When was this? Was this Tuesday or Wednesday of this week?
It was a couple days ago.
Yeah.
It just happened.
You'd get an email from someone you knew. This is why it was, and journalists particularly were vulnerable because journalists get a lot of shared documents, right? You'd get an email from somebody you knew that said, this person has invited you to view the following document. You got the button you're used to, open in Docs, and of course when it did that, it would launch Google's official OAuth login, including, incidentally, it would two-factor would, it all worked right because it wasn't illegal. It was a Google app. But if you paid attention, there were a couple, and I think most people aren't looking for this, a couple of things. First of all, this HHHHH that it was shared with, in addition to the person you know. But then there was one even more important, which I don't know if I have here, which is you would receive a permissions request, and in the permissions request, it would say, Google Docs wants permission to open, read, send your email at Gmail, and to look at all your contacts. And if you had thought about it, you might not have clicked the allow button at that point, because it's exactly what happened is the app then got your contact list and emailed the same email to everybody you know, embarrassing you.
That's the rub, right? If you had stopped and thought about it. And this is what I keep coming back to. I think that we humans feel very much in control of the machines in our lives, and we're not. The machines are very much dictating our everyday actions. This is why, by the way, the United problem happened on the United Airlines flight, because at every point along the way, an algorithm was making a decision, and people were reading what was on their screens, the staff, and they're just following the directions. And
but that's life. That's called a fiasco. That's always happened, right? Every horrible thing that happens is a cascade of avoidable small actions that add up to.
I agree with you, and I guess in this case, what I'm seeing more and more of is that sort of lack of we're just doing what the machines are telling us to do. So the email said to click, and it never, the first thing I thought of was actually, because I got one, was this person wouldn't know how to send me a Google anything if life depended on it. So what the hell?
You are lucky that you got it from that person.
I respect where you're coming from, but I think that if you have ever sat in on like a user testing session, I think good technologists, I think we really put the user first. And I think all kinds of bad decisions get made in technology when we start blaming the user. And I think that, for the hyper-educated about these issues, I think it's really easy for us to lack empathy towards what normal users are feeling. And I think we've got to put them, in the forefront here. So to me, I look at this issue and, this was spread by email. I think it's almost time for us to, update our email standards. And, like if Microsoft is sending me an email, a program update, there are certificates inside of it to make sure that I'm running, code from the right person. I almost want something to be built into these systems that can verify that these requests are coming from the real people behind it. Because, it's just true. Like we can blame users or call them dumb or belittle them, but like Facebook Facebook's chief security officer, he wrote a wonderful blog post a few months ago looking at how, InfoSec people will look at edge cases, and we love to talk about zero-day exploits. The truth is, the main thing that happens is people get phished. And that's just a fact. That is most of these kinds of hacking vulnerabilities. So
I totally agree with
blaming people, I think we've got to have compassion for them and figure out how to, give them better indications of what they're being given.